Let's dive into the full narrated chapter of One Piece 1128. Are you ready? After the intro. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel, and before we get into content of this video, don't forget to leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the notification bell so you don't miss anything. And well, let's get into the video. Pages 1 and 2. We start with the color spread, or double-colored page, where we see the Straw Hats flying on broomsticks, along with a blue dragon. They are wearing Harry Potter-style outfits, clearly paying homage to the wizard. Page 3. The title of the chapter is RPG. Initial note, new outfits. The chapter begins with Nami in Sanji's arms. Sanji starts by saying that if this is a dream, then there's no way a man could appear here. Nami asks what kind of dream Sanji has been having. Then Sanji says they are going to jump. We then see Sanji jumping, clearly off a piece of Lego. We see the castle of Big Stein, the giant tree, and a city clearly made out of Lego pieces. At that moment, another piece collapses. Sanji says it was close because it collapsed again. Zoro says he woke up on the other side of the city, and when he went to the source of the commotion, he saw someone knocking down the giant rabbit. This person was Luffy. Meanwhile, Luffy is panting. He scolds Usopp, saying Usopp should have been able to defeat that giant lion cat. Usopp explains that he woke up already being eaten by the cat. Pages 4 and 5. Usopp says, based on his own judgment, that what they're wearing are the clothes of the warriors of Elbaf. So there's no doubt they are in Elbaf. Usopp thinks they might also be giants now. As they walk, we see the huge tree in the center. Nami then says that if they're really in Elbaf and somehow became gigantic, there's no way that could be just a tree. Zoro then says there are people in the city. Let's ask them or we'll never get anywhere. Look at the vastness of this place. I don't think we'll be able to reach the sea like this. Luffy agrees and says they should head toward the city. Sanji says, not the whole crew is there. Usopp asks how he knows that. Sanji responds, crying, that he hasn't smelled Robin anywhere. Nami asks if Sanji is some kind of dog. Usopp says, all right, let's head to the city to ask. Luffy, very excited, says he smells adventure. Nami says, why are you all having fun? Don't you understand the scale of this mystery? Even being so vast, there's no wind at all here. Sanji tells Nami to calm down, saying he's there to protect her. Page 6. Zoro then notices something and says, looks like someone's coming. Nami says she's not liking this at all. Usopp then says, I'm feeling sick. Luffy, smiling, says, look. We then see a man wearing a helmet very similar to those Roman helmets with long beards. He's wearing black pants, he's fat, and has a large tattoo. He's sitting on an animal with handlebars like a motorcycle. His style strongly resembles Duval. The motorcyclist says, who the hell are you guys? Are you rookies? Luffy immediately gets excited and says, that's awesome! A grasshopper! He thinks the creature is a grasshopper. Nami and Sanji back away, saying they can't stand insects. Luffy then says, who are you, old man? What is this place? Do you know where our Nakamas are? The motorcyclist says, that's a lot of questions. Sorry, I'm in a hurry. I don't have time to talk to you. Page 7. The motorcyclist then reveals that this place belongs to the sun god, and that he is a servant of the god Iskat, the lord of Big Stein Castle. Luffy then says, huh? There's a person in that castle? The giant says that Iskat isn't a person, but a giant cat. Luffy then says, ah, sorry about that. But before he can finish the sentence, Usopp covers Luffy's mouth, preventing him from revealing that they beat up this Iskat. Meanwhile, Zoro, Nami, and Sanji whistle and look away, pretending nothing happened. The motorcyclist then says, you could say this is the land of the gods. He says he needs to leave because he has to feed the hedgehog, the god of needles. He arrived too late for the big incident, the giant rabbit, the god of ears, which was burned to death. The motorcyclist warns that if they're hungry, they can go to the city to grab something to eat. But he also warns them not to go anywhere near the opposite side of the castle. Curious, Luffy asks why. The motorcyclist says that the shrine of the sun god is there and it's protected by fierce soldiers. No one has ever returned alive after approaching the shrine. Nami, already knowing what would happen next, says, "Oh no. The way you said that, At that moment, as soon as the giant mentioned it, Luffy takes off at full speed toward the forbidden side. Nami, Usopp, and Sanji's eyes widen, yelling, "Wait!" The motorcyclist's eyes also bulge. Usopp says, "Well, old man, thanks for everything." Nami, sticking out her tongue in a sexy manner, says, "And also, sorry for everything." The motorcyclist immediately looks love-struck. Zoro then gets a serious look. He's excited to face the fierce soldiers. Sanji complains to him, saying that's why Luffy acts this way, because Zoro is a bad influence on him. Luffy, overly excited, says, "I smell adventure! Fierce soldier? A god?" The crew continues chasing Luffy along a long path. Luffy sees someone approaching, also wearing Elbaf clothes, and then out of nowhere, he crashes headfirst into something. It's a mirror. Page 10. As soon as Luffy slams into the mirror, it completely cracks. The clouds and sky also crack, breaking apart. Nami and Usopp say, "What? What? The sky broke?" Zoro wonders what's going on there. The citizens are shocked by what they're seeing and are worried if their country will be destroyed today. Page 11. Then we see a huge room on the other side of the mirror, a large door, and even a sewing machine on top of a wooden table. Nami says it looks like a giant's room. Zoro says no. It looks like the interior of an Elbaf ship. Usopp says, "Yeah, wasn't there a room like this back there? What's this wire mesh?" Sanji says, "If there's a giant here, it's like we're pets being kept in a very large cage." Nami says, "It can't be." Then we hear Chopper crying out, "Hey, what was that noise? Are you a friend? Please help me." Page 12. Chopper is then freed, and we see a collar in Zoro's hand. Chopper is happy to see the crew. Crying with joy, Chopper says he thought he was going to die because the collar placed around his neck was too tight. Nami, hugging Chopper, comforts him, saying, "Poor thing. It's okay now, all right? But now you owe me." Chopper angrily says, "What?" Someone says, "Look over there. It seems like the landscape continues forever because of the mirror's reflection." Usopp says, "Are there human-sized clothes in this room for a giant? It's like we're being treated like dolls. It seems this sun god is a very delicate and skilled person." Luffy says, holding a Lego block, that there are a lot of blocks here. Zoro, looking at the mesh, says, "This land is made of this material. When we roasted the rabbit, the smell became really strong." Sanji says, "That's because that plastic resin was burned along with it." 12 and 13. They then look toward the other side where they can see the city again. Usopp says, "Wow, it's transparent. When you look from this side, it's just a simple piece of glass. Does a magical mirror like this really exist? Nami-san, please let me clean the ladies' room next time." Before he can finish his sentence, Nami kicks Sanji in the face, saying, "Don't put that in our room." Zoro deduces that an evil giant made this blockland and has been putting people and animals inside it to observe them. Usopp says this is very disturbing. So does this mean we're already in Elbaf? We're in a giant's house in the land of giants? Luffy becomes even more excited about everything. The man craves adventure. Nami says, "It may or may not be. The only thing we're sure of right now is that this was made by a giant." Chopper says, "We need to get out and see outside. Where are the others? We need to escape before the giant comes back." Usopp says, "Maybe we should go back to the city and gather information. And just in case, whoever this stranger is, we can't create conflict with the giants. So Luffy, please don't do anything else." Luffy then asks, "But can I make this little guy here fly?" Luffy is talking about a giant snake that has just appeared in front of them. Nami, Chopper, and Usopp's eyes widen in shock, immediately scared. Usopp says, "Get down." Then we see 3 rats and a giant crow in the sky. Nami says, "There are rats down below and a crow above us. Are these the shrine soldiers?" Page 15, outside the room, we hear footsteps from a hallway. We see someone. It's impossible to tell if it's a man or a woman. They're wearing a black cloak with a deer or goat mask and holding a staff in hand, clearly with a sun symbol. The mask is made from the skull of an actual animal. This character then opens the door. Chaos is everywhere. Luffy is already in his Gear 5 form. Usopp says, "Hey everyone, this isn't a game." Luffy in Gear 5 says, "I'll take down this so-called sun god with 1 hit when he gets back." Usopp says, "You're exaggerating, Luffy." Luffy says, "But it's not me." The fireplace flames are spreading. As soon as the sun god opens the door and sees the chaos, he says in shock, My sanctuary. Luffy, laughing, Luffy says, Gomu Gomu no down pistol. Luffy then lands a huge punch on the snake, which immediately falls defeated while the sanctuary is engulfed in flames. 17. As the Straw Hats start to run, the giant sun god shouts, Hillmongard! Usopp says, hurry, Luffy. Luffy says, look at that giant. His eyes are massive. He looks really suspicious to me. Final pages 18 and 19. The crew sees the shape-shifting cat from the previous chapter in front of them with a bump on its head. They mount on its back. The cat, of course, complains, and Chopper translates the cat's message. Chopper says it's saying, I'll remember this. Nami then says, got it. More importantly, take a look at this. There's nothing that seems to have any monetary value here, but Sanji says, a design for Blockland. Chopper says, in other words, it's a map. Zoro warns that the giant is approaching. The sun god, angry, says, how dare you mess with my land? Luffy says, listen up, everyone. Hold on tight. If we run in a straight line, there's another mirror. If we break through it and the outer wall, we'll be outside. All right, we're going full speed ahead. Citizens, wide-eyed, say, The sun god is angry. The sun god says, you won't escape. For those who didn't catch it, the sun god didn't see the Straw Hats. He thinks the mess was caused by the cat, which is running and crying desperately. Final note, the adventure speeds up. No break next week. That was the narrated chapter 1128. If you liked it, don't forget to leave your like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. See you next time, and thanks.